Ever find yourself like doling out career advice to your friends? Helping them figure out their next move.
Maybe you've got what it takes to be an academic advisor. Get ready to explore a world that's way more than like course catalogs and requirements. We're talking about shaping futures one student at a time.
And we've got a ton of resources to unpack, from insider guides to, get this, the tech that's like seriously changing the game.
It's true, this field is buzzing with innovation. We'll be exploring RoleCatcher.
It's this all-in-one platform for job seekers that's, well, making waves. Think of it as like your secret weapon when it comes to navigating the whole professional world.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's step into the advisor's office.
I'm picturing it now, stacks of college brochures, maybe a motivational poster or two.
What's a typical day even look like for these academic guides?
Okay, so picture this. You're meeting one-on-one with students
Deciphering degree requirements like it's second nature.
and collaborating with faculty to make sure everyone's academic journey is, smooth sailing.
Sounds like things can get pretty dynamic. I bet those student interactions are super rewarding, right?
Absolutely. There's a real sense of purpose when you're guiding someone through such a, pivotal time in their life.
It's about empowering them to make, those informed decisions and really achieve those academic goals. But it's not just about, picking the right courses or checking off graduation requirements.
Oh, there's more to it.
So the guide we looked at actually highlighted this scenario where a student was, completely overwhelmed and about to drop out.
The advisor, using their critical thinking skills, realized the problem wasn't the coursework itself, but a learning disability that no one knew about.
Wow.
They connected the student with the right resources, got them the support they needed, and the student not only stayed in school, but started excelling.
Talk about going above and beyond. It sounds like being a good listener and having that, what do you call it, emotional intelligence are super key in this field.
Absolutely. You need to be really tuned in to what students are sharing. And not just their words, but, their body language, too.
It's about building that trust and creating a safe space for them to open up. But, and don't let the whole low-stress environment fool you, there are definitely challenges.
Really. I have to admit, when I think college campus, I'm picturing a pretty relaxed, chill vibe. What kind of curveballs are we talking about here?
Well, think about it. You're supporting students through some of the most, transformative and sometimes, let's be honest, turbulent years of their lives.
There can be academic setbacks, personal stuff, even mental health challenges that advisors need to navigate with a lot of empathy and sensitivity.
That's definitely a side of the job I hadn't really considered.
And with technology constantly evolving, I imagine that's shaking things up in the world of academic advising too.
You're right on the mark. Virtual advising is kind of changing the game.
It's all about using technology to connect with students remotely, offering more flexibility and accessibility.
We can, dive into that a bit later if you want.
That sounds super interesting. But
Yeah.
let's not forget, there are some, core skills you need to really master if you want to thrive in this role.
And I'm guessing it takes more than just knowing the university course catalog like the back of your hand.
You're telling me this isn't just about having all the answers. It's about knowing how to ask the right questions. Active listening is crucial, as is being able to communicate, sometimes complex information in a way that's clear and concise.
So it's like being a detective, a counselor, and a translator all rolled into one.
Now, that's a career path that'll keep you on your toes. But where does someone even begin?
If someone's hearing this and thinking, this is totally me, this is what I'm meant to do, what's step one?
Well, remember that platform we mentioned earlier, RoleCatcher.
They've got a ton of resources to help you land your dream job in this field.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. Tell me more about how this, digital Swiss Army knife can give aspiring advisors a competitive edge.
Okay, imagine this. You're polishing your resume, right?
But you're not just listing your skills and experiences. You're tailoring them to appeal to both, human recruiters and, get this, those AI screening systems that are becoming more and more popular.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI-powered resume builder comes in.
Hold on. AI is involved in the hiring process now. That's both impressive and, I'm not going to lie, a little terrifying. Tell me more.
It's the future of recruitment. These systems, they scan resumes for keywords, specific skills, even experience levels that match the job description.
RoleCatcher's AI analyzes those job postings and suggests improvements to your resume, making sure you stand out from all the other applicants.
It's like having a secret weapon.
And I bet that kind of strategic edge is crucial in a competitive field like academic advising.
Absolutely. But it's not just about getting your foot in the door.
It's about acing that interview. And guess what? RoleCatcher's got you covered there, too.
Oh, to tell.
Yeah.
I'm always up for a good interview hack.
Imagine having access to a database of, like, over 120,000 interview questions.
And they're all tailored to different careers and skill sets. That's what RoleCatcher brings to the table.
Wow, talk about being prepared. But it's not just about memorizing answers, right?
Not at all. RoleCatcher helps you understand the why behind the what.
Like, what are interviewers really looking for when they ask certain questions? What are some common mistakes people make?
And how can you craft authentic answers that really showcase your unique strengths and experiences?
It's like having a personal interview coach in your back pocket.
Exactly. But landing that dream job, that's just the first step. The world of academic advising offers incredible opportunities for growth and advancement.
Oh, I bet. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about what that career trajectory actually looks like. What does, like, climbing the academic advising ladder actually entail?
Okay, picture this. You start as an entry-level advisor, fresh out of college yourself.
Guiding students through the ins and outs of course selection, maybe even helping them navigate their first campus job fair.
Sounds like a great way to get your feet wet and make a real impact right from the start. But where do you go from there?
Well, as you gain experience and expertise, you might move into a more specialized role.
Like working with a specific group of students, like, say, first-generation college students, or those pursuing, those STEM fields that are super popular now.
Or you might find yourself developing and implementing new advising programs, like a peer mentoring program, or maybe some career exploration initiatives.
So you become less of a generalist and more of a specialist, really honing your skills in a particular area. And that's where those leadership qualities we talked about earlier really come into play, right?
Absolutely. And as you reach those, like, top tiers of the, career ladder, you're not just shaping the academic journeys of individual students anymore.
You're influencing the entire advising landscape within your institution, maybe even beyond. We're talking about collaborating with faculty on curriculum development,
Wow.
contributing to research on student success, presenting at national conferences, maybe even publishing your own work.
Now that's what I call leaving your mark on the world. It's inspiring to think about the kind of impact a truly dedicated academic advisor can have. But it all comes back to that core passion for, guiding students toward a brighter future, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's important to remember that this passion for learning and growth, it needs to extend to the advisor themselves.
The academic world is constantly changing, and to stay ahead of the curve, advisors need to be lifelong learners too.
So it's not enough to just guide students. You have to be a source of inspiration and a role model for continuous learning.
Exactly. The guide even suggests advisors consider getting, like, specialized certifications, and things like career counseling or learning disabilities, maybe even online teaching and learning.
Wow, talk about dedication. It sounds like this career path attracts a special kind of person, someone who's both a compassionate guide and a relentless learner.
That's a great way to put it. But even the most passionate advisor needs a little help sometimes. And that's where RoleCatcher comes in handy again.
Ah, our trusty digital sidekick. What does RoleCatcher offer seasoned advisors who are looking to, like, level up their careers?
Well, let's say you're thinking about applying for a, senior advising position at a different university.
RoleCatcher can help you research salary ranges for that specific role and location. That way you can make sure you're being compensated fairly for your expertise. It's like having a personal salary negotiator.
Now, that's what I call empowering. And speaking of empowering, we've talked a lot about the incredible impact advisors have on students' lives. But I'm curious, what kind of lasting impact does this career have on the advisors themselves?
That's a great question. I think the guide said it best.
They said that academic advising is more than just a job, it's a calling.
It's about making a real difference in the world, one student at a time. And that sense of purpose, that feeling of knowing you've played a role in someone else's success, that's what stays with you, even long after the graduation caps have been tossed in the air.
That's beautifully said. And it kind of reminds me of that quote from Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach. When you get, give. That's what academic advising is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about paying it forward, sharing your knowledge and experience to help the next generation reach their full potential.
And on that inspiring note, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned today.
We've explored the many sides of being an academic advisor, from the day-to-day tasks to the long-term impact.
We dove into the essential skills you need to thrive in this field, like active listening and critical thinking. Remember those.
And we uncovered some incredible resources that are out there to support you every step of the way. like our trusty friend, RoleCatcher.
And you know what? We've only scratched the surface. There's a whole world of knowledge and possibilities out there for anyone who's drawn to this, let's be honest, incredibly rewarding career path. There's so much to discover, right? But before we totally lose ourselves in the world of academic advising, I'm still kind of curious about this role catcher thing.
It's like this magic career toolbox we keep coming back to.
It kind of is, and one of its best features gotta be the job board. Like, we're talking a gold mine of opportunities all in one place.
Okay, that's super convenient, especially if you're someone who, like me, hates juggling a million tabs and websites when you're job hunting.
Exactly. RoleCatcher pulls in listings from everywhere, so you don't have to. Plus, they have this browser extension, RoleCatcher, Capture, that lets you save jobs from any website with just one click.
Whoa, that's seriously cool. I'm adding that to my must-have list later. But let's circle back to the whole career path thing.
We've talked about, starting out, entry level, and all those cool possibilities as you get more experience. But what does that upward climb actually look like? How do you move up in this field?
Well, the guide we're looking at, it uses this really cool analogy. They call it the academic advising pyramid.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more.
So at the bottom of the pyramid, you have all those core advising duties we talked about earlier.
Helping students pick the right courses, figuring out their degree plan, connecting them with resources on campus.
It's about building a really solid foundation of knowledge and skills.
Makes sense. Got to learn to walk before you can run a whole department, right?
Exactly. Now, as you move up the pyramid, things get more specialized. You might find yourself working with a specific group of students.
For example, first-generation college students or those who are, really into those STEM fields that are super hot right now.
Oh, interesting.
Or you could be the one who develops and launches new advising programs.
Think peer mentoring or those career exploration workshops, stuff like that.
So you kind of go from being a generalist to more of a specialist, really focusing your skills in a specific area.
And that's where I imagine those leadership skills we mentioned before really become important, right?
You got it. And once you reach the top of the pyramid, you're not just shaping individual students' journeys anymore.
You're actually influencing the whole advising landscape of your school, maybe even beyond that. Right. I'm talking about collaborating with faculty on how courses are designed,
wow,
doing research on what helps students succeed, presenting at big conferences, you name it, maybe even publishing your own research.
That's incredible. It's amazing to think about how much impact a really dedicated academic advisor can have.
But, it all goes back to that passion for helping students build a brighter future.
Right, 100%. And here's the thing, that passion for learning and growing.
It needs to include the advisor, too. The academic world is always changing, so advisors have to be lifelong learners if they want to keep up.
So it's not just about guiding students, it's about being a role model for always wanting to learn more and grow.
Exactly. The guide even suggests advisors could go for specialized certifications in things like career counseling or learning disabilities, even online teaching. Can you believe that?
Wow, now that's dedication. Sounds like this career attracts people who are both compassionate guides and seriously committed learners.
That's a great way to put it. But even the most passionate, dedicated advisor needs a helping hand every now and then. And guess what? That's where our old friend RoleCatcher comes in.
Ah, our trusty digital sidekick. What's RoleCatcher got for, let's say, more experienced advisors who are looking to take their career to the next level?
Okay, imagine this. You're thinking about applying for a senior advisor position at a different university, maybe one that's a bit fancier. RoleCatcher can help you do some research on what the salary range is for that kind of role in that specific location.
That way you can make sure you're being paid what you're worth. It's like having your own personal agent in your back pocket.
Now that's empowering. And speaking of empowering, we've talked a lot about the impact advisors have on their students' lives. But what about the other way around?
What kind of lasting impact does this career have on the advisors themselves?
That's such a thoughtful question. I actually think the guide summed it up perfectly.
Oh, what did they say?
They said, academic advising, it's more than just a job. It's like a calling.
Wow, that's powerful.
Right. It's about making a real, tangible difference in the world, one student at a time. And that feeling, that sense of purpose, of knowing you played a part in someone else's success story, that's something you carry with you, long after those graduation caps have flown through the air.
That's beautifully said. And it makes me think of that Maya Angelou quote.
You know, the one, when you learn, teach. When you get, give. That's what academic advising is all about, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's about paying it forward, sharing what you know, what you've learned, to help the next generation be the best they can be.
And on that incredibly inspiring note, let's take a second to think about everything we've covered today.
We explored all the different facets of being an academic advisor, the everyday stuff, and the big picture impact. It's like we've been given this incredible roadmap and all these tools to help us guide others, but we get to choose our own path along the way.
Exactly. And that's what I think makes this whole field so unique and exciting. You'll meet students from every walk of life, each one with their own dreams and goals.
It really is like being a gardener, isn't it? Helping each student grow and blossom in their own special way. It's more than just, here's your degree, good luck. It's about helping them uncover their passions and, develop their talents.
It's about helping them become the best possible version of themselves. And that actually brings us back to something you mentioned earlier, the why. Why does this job even exist in the first place? What need does it fulfill?
It's about guidance, right? That feeling of like wanting someone to walk beside us, especially when we're not sure which way to go.
Exactly. It's about having someone in your corner, someone who believes in you, especially when you start to doubt yourself. That's what a good academic advisor can be.
It's that human connection that makes all the difference, and that's not something you can just program into an algorithm no matter how advanced it gets.
That's so true. Technology's amazing, don't get me wrong.
Right.
It can connect us, teach us new things, even empower us in so many ways.
But at the end of the day, it's that human element, that ability to connect on an emotional level, to understand someone's journey, that's at the heart of what makes a truly great academic advisor.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of academic advising, I think the message is pretty clear. This is a career path for people who are passionate about making a real, tangible difference in the lives of others.
It's about helping students create a brighter future for themselves while also being committed to your own journey of learning and growth.
And who knows, maybe there's a future academic advisor listening right now, someone who's about to take that first step on their own path. If that's you, we've got one last piece of advice.
Don't be afraid to just go for it. Embrace the challenges, celebrate those wins, both big and small.
And never, ever underestimate the power of genuine human connection.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that incredibly inspiring note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We hope you walked away with some valuable insights, discovered some helpful resources, and maybe, just maybe, feel inspired to pay it forward.
To be that guiding light for someone else who's trying to find their way. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.